feelings in. We brought the receipts, baby. Lay back, tell the truth. We do this dirty, but we do it safe. Counselors in the house, let's go. Talk it out and act like grown-ups. Secrets in a circle, lips sealed tight. If you need a little healing with a little heat, pull up a chair. Keep your boots on. This is Counselors After Dark.
Hey guys, you're here with Betty. It's Paula. Dottie here.
This is Daisy.
It's your girl Dolores.
And welcome to Counselors After Dark.
So the drink of the day is an espresso martini, always 3. If you know what an espresso martini is, you always have the 3 little beads on top. Love. So now we're going to get into the topic of the day. Take it away, Daisy.
Thank you. And the topic of the day is this job worth it? Are we in over our heads? Do we want to quit tomorrow? What do we need?
The Facebook post that we are reading today says, "Who actually loves their school counseling career in here? I just started my master's for this yesterday, but I feel like all I've seen in this group are horror stories. Let's talk."
It's true. It's all horror stories because most of them are. It's really scary to get into any field, I think, honestly. And you have to be in it for a little bit to see if you truly like it and if the pros outweigh the cons. And I think that's with any job, even if if you're a school counselor, you're in the business world, the experience will let you know if the career is right for you.
Yeah, I don't know if internship or practicum hours are really enough to understand what this job really entails and how many hats we wear. Sure, they talk about all the stakeholders and a lot of what we do, but it's not until you're spending hours on the job and really there every single day that you get to see how it really is like. And when you get to make that choice, like, is that job going to be something that you're continuing or that you can manage for the rest of your career?
I also think that you have to dive into it, and it really isn't for everyone. I would say, like, in the beginning of when I was starting out, I was very rigid in a way. I had expectations of what my day was supposed to be, what I was expected to do. I was just more organized and not flexible. And I learned very, very quickly that if you aren't willing to adapt to every situation, it's not going to work out. But I also think I agree with Daisy. Internships, practicum hours, it is exposure, it's experience, but it's not the job. It's not even close to what you actually do. And you just are helping and assisting a counselor with their main responsibilities, but you are not in that role until you are in that role. So it is a little misleading almost of like your grad program and all of that. It's the general topics, but it's not what I expected. And it's hard to say if I knew what the job entailed early on. I don't know if I still would be doing this, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's very fast paced. So it's definitely not for everyone. You have to really be able to multitask for sure. You have to jump from one thing to another very quickly. Because, we could be in the middle of changing a schedule or in the middle of a phone call and then we get interrupted. It could be an interruption from a student, depending on how your office setup is, how the suite is. It could be an interruption from any teacher who feels like they can just come in at any point in time. Any emergency, we have parent pop up and it's a little annoying, yes, having to see someone who has an unscheduled appointment, but that's a part of our life. It's a part of our everyday life, having to be ready for the unexpected.
I agree with you, Daisy and Paula. And I think that you have to really fully immerse yourself in the job before you can make a decision if it's for you or not. But also, I think you have to give it time. Like, I really think you can't make a decision after a week or 2 or even a month. I think you really need to give it time. You have to give it a full year. So if you are listening and you're kind of going back and forth between, should I do this? Should I not? Give yourself a little grace. Don't be hard on yourself. And I think just give it time.
I think it's also really frustrating just looking at it in the perspective of like, okay, you have to choose a master's program. Now you're locked in, you're doing that for 2 years, you're getting everything done. And then it's like, what else can I do with the school counseling degree that I just spent 2 years and all of my money on that I'll probably be paying off until I die? I feel like this career kind of locks you in and it makes you feel like you have no choice but to like your job because then it feels like you wasted your time and your money. And I feel like also that's something that I've noticed in a lot of posts that I looked at. There's a lot of school counselors and even teachers that are saying, what's your side hustle? Like, why do we need side hustles? We just spent so much time and preparation to get to our supposed careers. We should be all set. But now we're here looking for side hustles. Or what are you guys doing if you're leaving education? It's sad to see because once you do get into this career and you do kind of, I guess, rough it out and you get to maybe year 2 and you realize, okay, maybe I do like it here. It's really hard, but maybe you find your people and you're able to kind of move past it, right? So then you do love it. So it's hard because you don't know, will I love it? Will I not? What do I do if I don't? You know, it's so much that goes into it. So you do really have to commit. And I think in order to do that, you have to find as much information as possible, especially from counselors who are already doing the job. Or you come and listen to us and we can tell you what it really is like.
Exactly.
I do think that this job is worth it in every realm of it. I think about working with the kids, working with my colleagues, being able to have, for the most part, set schedules, like coming in at 8 a.m., leaving at 3 p.m., making that a normal habit. I know that when I clock out, I can clock out. My admin isn't expecting me to stay after. I choose to if I want to, or I leave and have my own personal life after work. So I do think that the work-life balance makes this job worth it. I know in my role as a school counselor for a decade now, this job has been worth it. It's K through 12. And you can also go into college counseling. If you don't like working with the little kids because they'll sneeze in your face and it's accidental, it's cute, but at the same time, now you're going home sick, you don't have to work with elementary age kids. If you don't like hearing gossip and drama from girls who are 11 who think they're grown, you don't have to talk with them. If you like having those impactful conversations with high school age students, you can do that. There are more jobs in the upper levels for school counselors than the lower levels, but you have to find your niche and kind of know what you like and what you don't like. And as Paula and Daisy was saying, practicum, internships, those are helpful, but you have to put yourself out there to get those internships. You have to end up talking to people who are in the profession, who are doing it daily, and ask them for the real. Ask them, what do they hate about their job? Because they have to be honest with you so that you can make the right choice. If you want to stay in a school setting, go in a public school, go into a private school, go into a college setting, make your own practice. I think it's important for counselors to figure out what they want to do and ultimately find happiness in their job. Because again, we spend anywhere between 2 to 3 years going into our master's program. It would suck to do all that, pay all that money, and then you hate your job, and then you have to pivot. And then on top of it, some people want to be a school counselor and they can't even find a job. So ultimately, I do think that it is worth it, for me at least, because I know that I was able to pivot, make changes. If I didn't like elementary, I don't have to be an elementary school counselor forever. I moved up to a high school. I had middle school experience. You have to put yourself out there.
I have something very personal to add. I think that, I initially was so terrified. I remember when I was starting out as a counselor, I was so terrified to even apply for a high school position. I was like, there's no way I will find any other job but high school. This is not for me, that I didn't even attempt it. And I ended up in the lower levels. And that made me think that I wasn't supposed to be a counselor at all. I was already looking for a new job somewhere else. I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not meant to be a counselor. I was all alone because your teams are usually smaller when you get to the lower levels. And then just by chance, I happened to land in a high school because I guess that was just my destiny. And I found the best group of people. And even though this job is so hard, I think that being with the right people, it really does help you through the tough times. And I think that's also something that you have to think about. Like, what are your priorities when you're heading into this job? Is a commute a problem for you? What are your plans for life? Do you plan on having a family one day? Because I know that as a mom, that's also something that helps a lot with my schedule and the schedule with my kids. But I don't think I was thinking about that back then. So you do kind of have to think about your life and what that's going to look like, and then plan it out and have your priorities straight and see if you can get through the tough times so that you get to the point that you actually want to be in.
Thank goodness you didn't stop school counseling, Betty.
I know, because you're an amazing school counselor.
Aw, you guys are the best. Thanks. That's why I'm here.
But I think you and Dolores made really valid points in terms of finding your niche based off of your personality. I think we've all been there. I know when I've jumped around, I went from an elementary school counselor to being a leave replacement at a high school and then finding my permanent position as a high school counselor. And there wasn't a time when I wasn't nervous, especially starting out, because you really don't know what you're getting yourself into unless you're in there. And while all those positions may be reactive at some point, definitely at the younger levels, it's going to be a lot more than it is at a high school. I definitely found my niche at the high school level. There's enough structure as far as the meetings that we have, like weekly or monthly meetings, as well as all the impromptu things, all the pop-ups. Like you kind of get used to a certain flow. And I also feel like administration has a lot to do with it, because we want or we need administration that can be supportive and helpful, people that we can go to for questions. And we've had our mix of administrators coming and going, and we've definitely felt differences when there have been new people in those roles. So really our job can differ based off of so many different factors.
I agree. I think high school is where I'm meant to be. I've only ever I had 2 internships in high schools. I've never been in a middle school or an elementary school, but I feel like I would probably quit if I had to.
100%.
I don't know how you did it, Betty. I really don't know how you did it, but I don't think I could do it. But I think for me, it's also worth it. Just everything that you ladies said before, I agree with.
I think for me, I know I sounded a little bitter. I think it's just this time of year for me. But when I graduated from my master's program, I immediately also, like you, Dottie, just went into a high school. And my first year was so difficult for me. It was just a big change. I didn't feel prepared for my master's program, and I was crying all the time. But again, I wanted to go into school counseling to help kids. That was always my end goal. I just wanted to work with kids and help them enter the next phase of their life. And I think with everything that just was thrown at me in such a short amount of time, if I didn't have you guys, I really don't know what I would have done. Like my heart was always there for the right reasons. I wanted to be an educator in some capacity, but it wasn't easy. As Dottie said, you have to give yourself time and kind of go through that process, because now I'm not going to say how many years I've been in it, but now I really can't imagine doing anything else. Like I want to live in my office and just be there forever. I want to be a staple. I want to see my kids come and visit and remember me, because I just think that's so rewarding. But I guess you just have to ask yourself, are you there for the right reasons? And if you are, if you're passionate about this, then it's just the place that you're at. If you're not feeling supported, is the commute worth it? You could figure out all of those other variables, but are you there for the kids?
Yeah. Or do you have a good work-life balance even? Because I know plenty of people in the educational system who don't have that work-life balance. And you can see it in other areas of their life where maybe their other relationships aren't where they want it to be because of that lack of a work-life balance. But what I was going to say is that Dottie may have said that it takes up to a year, but I feel like for me, it even took more than that, maybe a couple of years. Like I remember struggling when I first went into the elementary school level. I wasn't sure if that was my niche, and I had to finish that full school year in order to really know, okay, that's not for me, and then try it out at a different level. And I'm going to say maybe it took 5 years. It was definitely a lot. And there were times when I was even crying in front of my administrator. So it definitely happens. We have our emotional moments because that first one is definitely the toughest, but it does get easier with time.
I would say I think it's not worth it when where you work is toxic, when the people around you aren't supportive, when you are crying at work and it's nonstop and you can't find a way out of it, when you're taking work home, taking work on vacations, that's not worth it. But it doesn't mean change your career. It might just mean change your school, change your building, change the level. You have to change something because a school counselor's job, it's really rewarding, as Paula said, but it's about finding fulfillment in your everyday small tasks and the big tasks. As a high school counselor, seeing kids graduate, knowing that you worked with kids for 4 years and you saw the little snot-nosed kids, the little bratty faces, ninth grade coming into school, thinking they knew everything, and then being so mature that senior year, it hits your heart in such a great way that them being mad at you during freshman year when you didn't change their class, it's fine because you helped them reach their goals. And those small things, they end up becoming major things for yourself and for students and families. So in those moments, the job is worth it. But when it's not, you have to figure out how to pivot.
And that's why you have to find your why. I think that and I think I said this to you too, Paula, I remember seeing you cry because you were so upset that everything was so hard. And I told you that it was me crying the year before you. And then I went to graduation and everything fell into place for me, even though it was so hard to just get on task and do everything I needed to do. I stepped into a dumpster fire, I would say, and I was able to get through it, even though it felt like I was drowning every day. And then just being at that ceremony, I feel like it just put everything into place for me. I was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be, because I would see students that I knew even for just half that year that I helped them get to where they were. They were on that stage because we worked together to get them there. And that felt so special to me that I think that sealed the deal, that I was like, wow, why was I not in high school before? This is my place. And I found my why. And if that's what you need to do, you need to find your why and you need to find yourself the right place for you. If that means setting boundaries, just like you said, Dolores, you don't need to leave the profession altogether. You just need to start maybe changing some things here and there to make it fit and make it your right place.
And also remember that at least I feel like we take care of people all day long. So you have to make sure you take care of yourself, because if you can't do that, you can't take care of the people around you.
You're right. And you know what? Sometimes we'll get a thank you and sometimes we won't. Sometimes it does feel like a thankless job. But if we find our why, if we find meaning in what we do, then we're going to have long, successful careers. Fingers crossed.
So the bottom line is that you have to want to do this job in order to find happiness within it. There are always going to be positives and negatives to every job, not just school counseling. But like Betty said, you have to find your why.
And don't forget to hit the follow button to listen to all of our counselor confessions. Cheers!
This is Counselors After Dark.